Going live. I don't know if anyone can hear me. Question is, do I have sound? Let's see. Oops. I don't know if there's any sound. I'm hoping that there is. Let's see. I don't even know if anyone's in here. If anyone's in here, do you hear me? Got a funny feeling. I just don't know if I have to adjust settings. So far, it's been nearly 2 minutes, and I don't know if anyone can actually hear me, so I'm a little bit concerned about that. I'm not sure what's going on with my settings. You hear me? Oh, good. Fantastic. I was a little worried about that because I didn't know I had some technical difficulties last night. So, yeah. So today is a do-over, a little bit of a do-over. I just wanted to basically reconnect with everyone and apologize for the fiasco last night. So, yeah, it was quite the learning experience, to say the least. So now at least I know for the future how to set up, like a split screen kind of interview style live stream. So it's definitely a learning curve. And as most of you would already know, I'm not exactly very experienced in the in doing like the live streams and stuff. So I do appreciate the patience. I really do. I don't know if my live count is like correct. It's been so glitchy recently that I don't know whether the live count is actually showing me the actual numbers, or whether, there's more people in here than it's actually showing. So I think basically I've been doing kind of some reflecting over the past year of where my fish room started off. Hello. Where my fish room started off, and where getting myself back into the hobby and basically going, 2 feet first, and the learning process, and reflecting on where I was a year, 18 months ago, and the transformation that has really taken place within my fish room, within my personal gains and knowledge levels. It's really humbling. And basically, I kind of wanted to, hey, Salty, I really wanted to kind of speak a little bit about that, and and thank everyone again for the continued support, because without the feedback and the comments and the just general interaction with everyone, be it either through here or through Facebook or any one of the other applications that I'm present in, it probably would never have gotten as far as it had. For those of you that don't know, when I very first got myself back into the hobby, my fish room was like a little old man's hobby lobby, and it was dark, dingy. It was wall to wall wooden structures through like literally every single wall in my basement had some form of like wooden shelving, big table, like big like craft tables, little pottery area where they obviously the yard here was absolutely just, it was so beautiful. But obviously they became too old to be able to maintain it and take care of it, which is heartbreaking, but also good for me because now it's mine. um, and the day that I was actually finally allowed to go and buy myself my first fish, I hey the first day that I was actually allowed to buy my first fish was the point of no return. I've always had a fascination with the hobby, but over the years, as most people know, during growing up, you kind of fall in and out of not love with things, but you kind of fall in and out of it being an obsession, whether it be your lifestyle, whether it be money, whether it be your current situation. There was a lot that went on in, from my early years up into my adulthood, and there was a lot of factors that played into me actually stopping being so interested in the hobby, apart from having children. And that's one of the things that empty your pockets really really fast is children that have uh, endless needs. And for those of you that don't know and are not aware, my husband and I, we have 8 children. So it's we're very full on. It's a very full on family. So when I very first went in and picked out my very first beta, that was it. I was hooked, literally hooked from there. And it's gone from having this two little beta, because I told my husband I was only getting one and I came home with two. Uh, yeah, lots of kids are fun, and they definitely keep me busy. Definitely keep me busy. The move almost killed my interest. Yeah, that's moving is never fun. You're completely right. It is very, very hard to, it's very difficult to find the time to, mitigate everything and making sure that you're taking care of everything and everyone, and not just your fish. And, it's difficult, but, when I came back into the hobby, I knew that this was a good time for me because I still felt so passionate about it. And I knew I wanted to explore something different. When I was a kid, when I was a kid, I had this fascination with my pond. And actually, my mother found me in the pond a couple of times. Like, I was swimming with my fish in my pond because I wasn't exactly a typical girl. I didn't like Barbie dolls, and I didn't play makeup, and I was more happy playing in filthy, dirty puddles and picking worms out of the ground and just being gross. So my fascination really hit home. I bought my very first fish tank when I was about 12 years old. It was my own 10-gallon fish tank, and I had fish that ate each other, and it was a disaster. But it it was a disaster that made me want to know more and figure out that you can't just grab whatever fish it looks like. Yeah, that's fantastic. My 12-year-old son actually really likes fish too. He chose one of my baby betas, and and he loves that fish. He called it king, and he absolutely loves it. And that to me is fantastic because I can kind of spread fish tanks around the rest of the house. I can kind of sneak another fish tank in one of my kids' rooms, and no one can say anything because the kid wants it. So I gave it to him. So I find my way to gently take over the entire household, even though I've got my entire basement. It was completely stripped out. Last year in August, we had like really torrential rain up in northeast Pennsylvania, and that was quite the eye opener because my basement completely flooded, and there was about 6 inches of water in some areas in my basement, and I was just I was heartbroken. Hi, Pet Solstice, and thank you. And I was heartbroken, absolutely heartbroken, because here I was trying to start up my hobby and my passion and learn and put these fish tanks in and, change the basement around so that it worked for me. And now I've got 6 inches of water on my floor, and I was so devastated. Like, I literally just stood there. So, you know how August last year was. It was, and I'm right up in the northeast of Pennsylvania, and it rains so much. And so we actually had some builders come in and like rip the whole of everything out. All of the wooden structures were gone. The little old man had like wood, and it was like rough milled wood planks, probably oak or something like that, and he had just nailed them to the wall. So that all got ripped down. All of the shelving got ripped down, and then the one trouble area it was in the back of the basement, that actually got dug out, and we have like a 4-foot sump pump put in there, and that seems to be helping a lot. There is still some water coming in, but those problems are outside, and just the way that my yard is, it's sloped, and it slopes down into the house. So all the water from the properties up the back, it all comes down into my yard and then up to the back of the house, and it sits there and comes through the basement. But in reflection to where it was last year, it's 1,000 times better. It's much drier now, and now it's kind of a blank canvas. I have some tanks going, and I have my beta tanks and my fry, but I have like ample room to do whatever I want. So now I've got it to where I want it, and now it's time to grow and push forwards. So everyone kind of knows that I'm obsessed with betta fish, but little does everyone know that there's many other species that I am secretly infatuated with. And that's kind of what drew me to the live stream yesterday, and then this live stream today, because of the technical problems that I had yesterday whilst trying to have the live stream with Paul from Green Oasis Farms. My reflection on that is now it's time. Good night, Matthew. Thank you. My reflection on that is where am I going from here? Like, I breed betta. I love my betta, but I've got 500 square feet that I need to fill. So some of the fish species that I'm actually completely infatuated with are, I love goldfish. I love them. Susan, hi. I absolutely love goldfish. They have been creeping up on me since my husband bought me Panda Oranda for my birthday. And those little faces you just can't help but fall in love with them. Like my Orandas have like the wen that comes down right into their cheeks, and I just want to squeeze their little face. They're just so adorable. Like, but a lot of people don't realize how many different kinds of goldfish there are. So it to me that's another world. That's a whole new world, and I have to explore it. Like I'm trying to like go down the list of like my absolute favorite fish. I'm gonna explore absolutely everything I possibly can with them, and then I'll probably move on to something else while still keeping my beta and then my goldfish and my plecos. I have an absolutely ridiculous obsession with plecos too. There is nothing cuter than those ugly little catfish faces. I've got again, there's so much that's unknown about them. Jordan! There's so much that's unknown about them, and there's so many new species that are being found all the time. To me, they just completely blow my mind. The way that they can tolerate so many different living conditions and so many different environments, and to me, that's an ultimate survivor right there. No, you're fine. Plecos are just a complete ultimate survivor to me, and the benefits that they have for your fish tanks, the cleanup crew, the hardiness, I just love them. They're a mystery to me. They have such different needs, and a lot of people don't realize, the different ecosystems that they live in, the different dietary. People just think you shove them in the tank, they clean the glass, and that's that. They're done. But oh my god, I have such an obsession with goldfish, an absolute obsession. And right now I have comet goldfish, and they're about this long right now. So I'm still working with those. They're still youngsters, and my husband has agreed to make me an outdoor pond. So I can't wait for that. We're just still trying to decide exactly where we want to put it, that no one's going to fall in it, because I've got 3 little boys that I'm sure are going to try and swim in it like I did when I was a child. So, but Resporas, yeah, some of them I like, not all of them, but there's a few different that really pull at my heartstrings, like really pull at my heartstrings. But I'm not familiar with all of the names. Like when I was younger, I used to know so many different fish species. Ugh, I can't speak. When I was younger, I used to know so many different fish species. Yeah, they get so big, and people just don't realize. And that was kind of what spurred the live stream yesterday with Paul. Is, there was a couple of species that we were discussing, plecos being one of them, and how they're ultimate survivors. They're little tanks, and one of the biggest problems is they become invasive because they're so adaptable, and that's a shame. But also at the same time, to me, it's also amazing that these fish literally survive on nothing and algae when they absolutely have to. But people don't realize if they're not fed the right diet, they will try to eat fish too sometimes. There's so many different things to learn. There's such a plethora of knowledge that I need to know about these species. So I didn't want anyone to be upset that not everything is going to remain about beta. They are absolutely my obsession. I love them to pieces. But moving forward with my channel and with my obsession with the hobby, I know I'm never going to be able to stay to one species as it is. I already have my beta. I have 3 different species of pleco. I have 2 different species of goldfish. I have 2 different species of, well, not species, but 2 different types of guppies. And I have my flower horn. So, I'm never ever going to stay to one species. Just don't tell my husband, because he already knows it's going to cost so much money. and it's already cost quite a bit. So, um, try and hide that electric bill. But it's just, to me, a lot of this hobby is not just about the actual fish, where it came from is a huge aspect into keeping it. Like, researching areas that fish originally came from, even a man-made species, it derives from something in the wild, so learning those fundamental basics of, well, this fish came from this area, this is what its natural environment is, even though it's a mixture of A and B. I like to learn these things. I like to see, I like to try and investigate absolutely every single aspect that I possibly can. And obviously, some of the species have never been studied breeding in captivity. So those are some of the species that really make me want to test them. I want to collect fish that are unknown to have bred in captivity, and I want to be able to breed them. I kind of want to say I'm the first one to do it, but that's going to take a little bit of time. So I do have some plans, and my beta room, I say my beta room, I'm in the process of, I just got done designing my beta gallery. Yeah, they're beautiful as well. They are beautiful as well, Jordan. Hi, Cichlids. I just recently got done designing what I'm going to call a gallery, because I can't think of anything else to call it. And it's going to be a series of different 10-gallon tanks that are all going to provide about 3 gallons for all of my beta each. And I have about a 14-foot wall that's about 14 foot long, and it's about, I'm going to say about 5.5, 6 foot. It's probably 6 foot tall, all said and done, like up into the rafters. And I know that there's some room that I can play with up there. So I want that entire wall to be filled with 10-gallon tanks that are divided up for all the beta, because once they hit a certain age, I don't like them being in the grow out jars. I want them to be able to, I don't breed my fish to sell them and make fast buck. I breed my fish because I love breeding my fish. I breed my fish, and if somebody buys one, fantastic. If nobody buys them, I don't care. I love them. They will stay with me until I'm be happy fish for the rest of their lives. I don't care if I end up with 9,000 of them. They are absolutely, to me, every single one of them is so different. But obviously, when you're talking about beta, you have to, you definitely have to plan for the future. And the future reality is not all of them are fish that people necessarily want. Some of them just end up getting overlooked. It's just the way it is. And I want to be able to provide a stable environment from when they get to the certain point that I don't want them in the grow out jars anymore. And then they can be in my beta gallery, which is what I'm going to call it. So, and they can live there for the rest of their lives, happy, content, looked after, and loved. And eventually, I want to collect every single tail type. If I can, I'm going to start trying to collect some of the wild beta too. Again, as an educational tool. Not really a tool, that's kind of a bad word to use. But LRB has had the beta bug for a long time. He had the beta bug for a long time. He imported some last year, and they cost him a small fortune. And then he's a sucker for a beta. Lucas is an absolute sucker for a beta. I've had many a conversation with Lucas about the beta. Yeah, he did. I was talking to him about the pandas that he had. Oh, did you? How many did he end up with? Because I never actually saw how many beta he bought. I just saw that he had bought beta, and I think I was in one of Haley's live streams, and she said that he was lost at the beta table. It makes me laugh with all of the fish that he has and all of the tanks and all of the different species he has, and he still is a sucker for a beta, aren't we all? I mean, they're just gorgeous. He really is. Yeah, he really is. He has been he's been a great inspiration, especially to me. Like, hearing some of his stories. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Hearing some of his stories and where he started out and now where he's at is just like, if he can do it, we all can do it. There's no limits. Like, set your goals high and hit them. Like, you can do it. I went from one little beta in a cup to having a 500 square foot fish room in my basement, and I've managed to sneak a few tanks upstairs too. And now I'm trying to take over the backyard as well. So it's definitely one of those things, but I think a lot of people need to be prepared that if you do want to keep fish to the scale that some of us do keep fish and some of us want to keep fish, I'm working on it. Mine's still a very much a work in process. A work in progress. I think a lot of people need to realize that it's not just about acquiring the tanks. It's not just about acquiring the fish. I spend 3 to 4 hours down here a day. And honestly, my room is my fish room is half the size of most people. So, I'm relatively new into it still and like getting my fish room completely set up. But a lot of it's not just getting the fish tanks, filling them with water. Well, right there, the tanks cost money, the water costs money, the electric to run them costs money. The time it takes away from, if you're someone who has a family like myself, it takes a lot of time to maintain, and the more you add to it, the more time it takes to maintain, and you can become overwhelmed real fast. So it's definitely a decision that if you do end up wanting to keep a multitude of different species of fish, by all means, all power to you. I hope and I wish you the absolute best success. But if you haven't yet started that, if you haven't started that process, you can very, very quickly become overwhelmed. Like, oh my Lord, like I just added another fish tank. So now that's going to take me another 15 minutes every single day, 4 times a day, to make sure that everyone's okay. And the plants, the chemicals, the treatments, the fish themselves. I mean, a lot of people think, oh, beta pet store's $10. Yeah, well, if you've got 100, guess how much that is? And if you're like me and you don't buy them from the pet store and you seek out fish specifically for, their breeding lines and the quality of the fish, I've paid in excess of $70 for a single beta, and that's not even including the shipping. So it adds up really, really fast. And considering right now I think I have 32 adults and about 120 fry that have made it past the 8-week stage. And then my flower horn and my goldfish, the guppies. Oh, and I have shrimp too. I didn't mention the shrimp. But it adds up really, really fast. Substrates for your tanks, filters for your tanks, heaters for your tanks, general maintenance for your tanks. It adds up really, really fast. But I think that anyone that wants to get into the hobby and has dreams of creating a fish room, there's many different ways that you can actually save money to do it too. Like a lot of my fish tanks, I scored a 75-gallon fish tank for free. The only thing I had to do was lift it. with half-inch thick glass. Those things weigh a lot. They weigh a lot. And thankfully, myself and my eldest son were able to lift that thing into the back of my car. But now it's sitting on my porch, and because I recently hurt my back, I'm not tempting to pick it up. We are discussing fish rooms and the itch that we have. Susan, good night, sweetheart. Thank you for stopping by. We're discussing fish rooms, the beta itch, where, yeah, basically multiple tank syndrome, and how it can not so much for me, because I knew full well what I was getting into when that one beta was kind of a distraction from the the overall picture. It went from a beta to a 10-gallon, from a 10-gallon to a 15-gallon, from 5 10-gallons to, yeah, it's spiraling, and I love every second of it, and I can't wait to see what this year brings me. I've done a lot of work. I've been very, very active recently I found some fantastic groups and communities. In fact, most of you I know from these communities, and I absolutely love these communities. I love being a part of them. I love speaking to everybody, and being silly as well. Like, I like to yes, Reptile Adventures, that's exactly how it starts out. I started with a beta, and I've got a 500 square foot fish room, so it happens real fast. It's not full yet, but I'm working on it. If there's one thing that I can tell you, is one day it will be full. One day. It's definitely a work in progress. But I love speaking to everyone in the community, and being as active a member as I possibly can be. There's a couple of communities that I'm obviously, where I'm located. I'm in Pennsylvania, but there's a lot of there's so many fantastic people in the community that are not on YouTube and don't really come into YouTube. So go Steelers. It's just as well, I'm not really a big football fan at all. I really am not. But if you walk down my street, there's like, everyone has the Steelers signs, and yeah, it's like plastered all over my town. So, but there's so many fantastic people in the community, and if you're not a part of some of these communities, I really advise that you seek them out. Personally, one of the communities that I've been really drawn to, Team Green, what is it? I forget the full name. Team Green Alliance is one of them. One of my other favorites is Green Oasis Farms, and actually that particular Facebook group is where you will find me 99% of the time. That is probably the fastest way to be. Yeah, the water box too. Absolutely. I absolutely recommend the water box. Chung is amazing, and not only with the Planet Fish tanks and his knowledge with the Planet Fish tanks, but his knowledge with computers and graphics and design, and oh my lord, that man is amazing. He is phenomenal. He actually, my logo for my YouTube was with thanks to Chung. So a huge shout out to Chung, because he is phenomenal. And definitely go to the Waterbox community and become a part of that, especially those of you that are like interested in the planet tanks. I'm not very good at planet tanks. I put green stuff in my tank and usually it dies. So I try that, and that's just absolutely me being completely honest. I'm not good at, hey, hi. I'm not good at keeping plants. I'm not going to beat around the bush and pretend that my plants are fantastic, because honestly, I would be lying. I am not great with plants. Although recently, duckweed, yeah, I have some pretty sizable duckweed. I actually it's not duckweed, it's frogbit I can keep, and I'm not sure of the pronunciation, but Anchorus I think it's called. That stuff, fine. I can grow that stuff really, really well. And actually I just tore apart. Oh, I have a couple of different plants. They just don't look as like full. They're just not. I have wisteria, I have anubias. I don't remember all of the names, but as I see them, I'm like, yeah, I have those. But I'm not very good at them. Like, they're stuck in my. I don't have Java balls. I don't like them. I just. Everyone's like, oh well, you've got beta, so you should have beta. You should have the Java balls, or you have shrimp. You should have the Java balls. I don't like the way they look. It's just my personal. It's my personal preference, I guess. I like the things that look like little trees, but I usually kill them. So I kind of. I spoke to my friend from Adam from AC Aquatics, and he actually sent me some plants that were supposedly like shishi proof. And so far, everything's done pretty well, apart from I had like a major snail explosion, and so the snails kind of started snacking on some of it. But the majority of it is doing pretty well, considering I have a sand substrate and I don't use fertilizers. I'm kind of scared that I'll use the fertilizers and kill my fish. Just because I honestly, it's not as much as I love the way they look. I love creating that natural environment, and I will get more into it. I've never had, yeah, yep, they will do. But there's a lot of plants that I'm like, they're so pretty, they're so gorgeous. The tank looks phenomenal, and then I killed it. No, I'm no, not yet, not yet. Thrive. I'll look into it for sure. My I definitely need to grab some assassin snails. My comet goldfish actually do a really good job, but they're like 5 inches long now, and they don't fit in my 10 or 20 gallon tanks. Even though I actually, ironically, talking about that, I read something today. I was reading up on Ryukin goldfish. Love them. They're so beautiful. Um, and this person was saying you can keep a Ryukin in a 10-gallon tank. Mm-mm. Nope. Nope. Definitely not. Definitely do not keep Ryukin in a 10-gallon tank. The chances are, if you get a Ryukin and it's only this big, guess what? It's a baby. Because Ryukin, about this big. You can't. Hi, Lacey. You can't put a Ryukin in a 10-gallon tank, expect it to grow fully. It's going to be stunted. And for a fish that's already got the potential for having internal issues because it's squished, you don't want to stunt it anymore. I mean, you want these. If I want my goldfish to be big and beautiful, yeah, exactly. Like, you don't. I mean, they say, oh, it will still grow to its fullest potential as long as you're keeping up on your water changes. There's not that many people that grab a goldfish from a pet store. They grab a goldfish from a pet store and they believe that filter is going to do all the work for them. All they need to do is stick the fish in the tank. Done. Filter's going to do the work. Fish is going to swim around his 10-gallon because that's what they were told. That fish is not going to lead a very happy life. People don't realize that, even though you have a filter in your tank, you still got to clean that tank. You still got to maintain the water quality for that fish to grow to its fullest potential. And it's sad, it's heartbreaking, but that's why we're all here. That's why we have this fantastic community, is to help. Yes, because they are greedy piggies and heavy poopers. And ironically, so are plecos. Another one of my fascination fishes. Yeah. Yeah, they and also if you've got a planted tank, you don't want goldfish in it. They like to dig. They're gonna uproot everything. Same as my flower horn. He rips everything up. It doesn't. I actually resorted to putting like natural stones in his tank to have a little bit of a variance rather than just sand, because it just looked boring. And he likes to go through the rocks and hide underneath them, but they've got to come out because he scratched himself. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna have him get hurt again. I was pretty upset because it was my fault, So, but yeah, definitely. And this was part of the conversation that I was having with Pokey Paul from Green Oasis Farms. Excuse me. Green Oasis Farms was, so many people are so misled or misinformed or just haven't done their research when it comes to, yeah, exactly. They just haven't done their research when it comes to buying a particular species of fish. People that don't know any better don't know any better. There's no stupid question if you don't know the answer. So that's why I love these communities, because even I learn from people in these communities all the time. And for that, I owe a huge thank you to every single one of you, because I'm sure I've learned something from every single one of you at some point in the past couple of years that I've been really actively indulging in my fish obsession. And it's only going to get worse from here, so stick around. My obsession with fish it's never going to end. It's been running through my blood since I would say probably about 7 years old was when I first really started to love the fish tanks. Just about everyone in my family had a fish tank of some kind, and I would sit there like smushed up against the glass trying to see the fish and where they're going and what they're doing. And I was a very, very high energy child, and I'm still a fairly high energy adult. So I can lose a couple of hours down here just literally just sitting in front of my fish tank. I would just sit there and I would just watch them. And then next thing I know, one of my kids is like, Mom, you've been down there for 2 hours. What are you doing? I'm like, cleaning? I wasn't. I was just sitting, staring, infatuated at my fish tanks. So I just absolutely, they just blow my mind. I love them. I absolutely love them. The amount of pleasure that I get watching them, and I'm sure that's the same for a lot of people here too. You forgot you know, when they're being quiet and I'm down here in the basement looking after my fish tanks, it's like there's that happy medium. My kids are happy and quiet, and I'm down here happy and quiet. My husband's like, he's in heaven because kids aren't bothering him. Oh, I'm not bothering him. And hey, hey, AJ. So it's like, I'm sure most of you have had that moment where you just frozen staring at your fish. I do it all the time. All the time. Yeah, I know, right? It's like when they keep putting their hands in the glass. Don't do that. Stop it. Stop that. I actually told them that if they stick their fingers too close to the flower horn, they're going to actually lose their fingers. But he's not growing very fast. But I think he came from a bad. Personally, I think he came from a bad breeder. When I got him, he was like this big, and the man told me he was 6 months old, and I was like, and he's this big. something's not okay there. I couldn't get him to eat when I first got him. And I had a friend that actually, ironically, bought a flower horn from the same seller. Oh, did you? And her one did the same thing. It was absolutely tiny when she got it. It wouldn't eat anything. And I've had him about a year, and he's still only about this big. And I say him, I actually think it's a female. But I think it's just terrible genetics. And when I actually messaged the seller because I'm like, listen, I can't get this fish to eat anything. Like, I tried mosquito larvae. I tried, what else did I try? Bloodworms, grundle worms. You name it, I tried it. He was not interested. And somehow I managed to get him eating, and occasionally I'll get him an earthworm from outside and throw that in for him, and he seems to like that. Oh, how did that feel? I saw someone got on one of the Facebook groups. Yeah, he doesn't like them. Doesn't like the pellet food. This fish is just, he's a complete headache, but I love him. I even got food imported to try. I can't remember. It's called Starry or something like that from Indonesia, I think, or I don't remember. But it's from like China, and he won't touch it. Will not touch it. Even I've even come down to throwing in like beta pellets to see whether he'd eat the beta pellets. Like if I throw it in there and he eats it, I'm like, yes, he ate something. And he attacks my fingers too. But like I say, he's like literally like this big, and he's just coming up a year old. And I just think he's just gonna be one of those fish that's just I'm gonna try and keep him happy, and I put little toys in his tank and let him like attack them and stuff, and then I take them out. But I can't trying to get him to eat anything is nigh on impossible unless it's a cull. And as much as I know some people won't like me saying that, there are occasions that oh boy, and there's occasions where obviously as a breeder you have to call, and I call, and he gets them, and that's the only time I've ever seen him eat willingly. Like, he loves to eat his beta snacks. It's like bring a cat, a bag of treats. I can't watch it or anything like that. I just don't like it. I have my husband keep an eye on him to make sure that it's over and done with real quick, and then I'm like, okay, I don't have to watch because I don't like it. But it's yeah, I don't want to be playing with anything electric. That's the one thing I'm not going to get in my fish room, is anything that deals with electric catfish. No, that just sounds, electricity and water, just no. Just mentally, that just doesn't sound right. Yeah, well, I would be using somebody else's arm to scrub that tank. No. But yeah, for basically moving forward from where I'm at now is there are a couple of other species of fish that I'm extremely excited to be going into some breeding projects, and they are not beta, and don't be mad at me. But they're not beta, and watch this space because I'm not actually saying exactly what they are. But it's going to be a very, very exciting time, and it's going to be producing a whole lot of new content, and that to me is perfect, because it's something else that I can learn, and therefore I can share with everyone here you know, as I learn it. And to me, that's, you know, sharing your knowledge is, well, not really, because then you'll know. It's not gonna take long for me to get this project going, and once it starts going, you're gonna find out really, really fast. But I am completely obsessed with goldfish and plecos, and that's pretty much as far. Egg layer. It is an egg layer. But it's not green silver dollars. Interesting. They're kind of a cool fish that people just don't. There's something about them that they get overlooked. I feel like so many people are just like, it's boring. They're fascinating. They are fascinating. Yeah, my guppies didn't produce the fry that I thought they were going to produce. You know, in my mind, I was like, oh, they're going to be perfect and look exactly like their parents when they come out. Mm-mm. Nope. My silver streak pink flamingo male and female pair produced what looks to me like sword tails of some sort. The top of the tail is a sword, and the bottom is kind of rounded. So at first I thought they may have been some sort of lyre tail. You have to excuse my pronunciation on some things. Some things I don't pronounce right, so I do apologize for that. But the fry look nothing like the parents at all. So yeah, the males have like top. They literally have top swords. They're not very big, and they're. Let me see here. The tail has a yellow hue to it, yellow and white, and then the body is like silver pink with a big black dot in the middle of the body and one near the eye. And I'm just like, this doesn't look anything like. Yes, I am. Oh, Turbo. I don't know if Turbo is. Yeah, you are you in that group as well, AJ? Really? Well, go join it. So it's it's crazy. Like genetics, the way genetics play out, and that was another thing that absolutely infatuated me with beta, is that you're gonna have two fish that look completely identical, and the babies look nothing like the parents at all. And just because of all of the breeding, um, no, that person never ever contacted me back. Yeah, the marble gene. The marble gene is, to me, absolutely amazing. I love it. And that koi, that person never got back to me, so I don't know whether a fish like that is not going to be it's not going to be readily available to you know, you or I. Really, I mean, I think you'd have to have some serious cash to be able to purchase that fish. And then yeah, you know, and that's the thing. When I bought the guppies, they don't breed true. They're not breeding true at all. I mean, I'm interested to see where the line goes. You know, we'll see what happens. But I think only no, actually. Uh, I'll try Delia. Uh, did I do it? Did that work? Again, this is something else that's kind of new to me. So, but yeah, that was the thing. Like, you kind of have this mindset that these fish, you're gonna get them, and you're gonna have this really cool looking. Like for me with the guppies, I was like, wow, these are awesome. I had blonde tuxes, and they're beautiful. And I have pink flamingo, um, silver streak pink flamingos. I'm starting to believe that they were kept in a tank with all kinds of other guppies, and the females were, you know, caught by other males, and that's why they're not breeding true. Or these are like true spin-offs of something that, they're like a fluke. Like, oh, they look so pretty, we're going to give it this name and we're going to sell it, but it's never ever going to breed like that again. So that kind of bugs me, because the male silver streak is so pretty. He's like a he's like this crazy silver color, and like he gets darker as his, through his tail, and then he's got like little gray spots down his tail, like just around the one edge of his tail is little spots. And he's so pretty, and the female was gorgeous too. She passed away. I came down and she was just dead. So I don't actually even know what happened, whether she just, had a heart attack and died, or what. Undergrads, is that what it was called? Underground Aquatics or something. There's so many gems on Facebook right now, like these Underground Aquatics. There's so many fantastic groups out there. You guys really should explore some of these other groups if you haven't, if you're not, already members of some of the groups that I'm in. I just recently joined one for goldfish, and it seems the information seems very, very sporadic right now, and I don't know if there's better goldfish groups to join, but that is definitely something that I'm a part of that group too. I don't post very often in there. The beta communities are very cutthroat. The beta communities are extremely cutthroat. So I watch and I just scroll through, because I see so many people being torn down on some of those groups, and that's not the way to teach people. You don't tear someone down. You educate them kindly. Again, it brings me back to the same saying: if there is no stupid question if you don't know the answer. If you don't know the answer, it's not because you're stupid, it's because you just don't know. So, we all started learning at one point or another with our hobbies, with driving vehicles, with whatever else it is. You know, you can't be a hater on someone who doesn't know that. So it's like, it's kind of sad in a way that some of these communities, and I've seen it particularly with some of the beta communities are cutthroat. So I like to be a part of them, but I'm usually a silent part of them unless there's something that I really feel they can be helpful with, that's not going to be something that people are going to attack me for. Because I don't have the time for the drama. I don't like it. I have no interest in it, and I'm not going to get dragged into it, So there's many different groups that I'm a part of, and I pay attention to what's going on in the groups, but I don't necessarily get involved. There's only a few groups that I actually like really get involved with. So, and Team Green Alliance, Green Oasis Farms is absolutely, like, at the moment, that is completely my number one group. I just love, the way that everyone is just so chill. Everyone is completely chill. I've had one bad incident with someone, and they were removed from the group straight away, and just because one of my first ever posts, the guy decided he wanted to be nasty about it. So and it was just things that I was posting for fun, you know. Tell me why I'm wrong. Were the posts. I don't know if anyone actually. Um, Jordan, you are right. There are some very very toxic people, and that's a shame. Like these communities are not made for toxic for to be a toxic environment. You know, we're all here to learn. We all have this common passion. So why don't we unite and keep pushing forward, pushing people forward, educating people, and empowering our community even further? Like we already know what this community is capable of. We've seen it so many times. So why introduce that negative behavior into something that, such as the beta community? The beta is a highly popular fish. So let's, rather than tear each other down and be like, oh, you can't breed that kind to that kind, that's a bad combination. Explain why. And be like, well, you know, they're your fish. If you want to breed that one to that one, that's up to you. But this is what you could potentially be doing, and this is why it's not a good idea. You know, I mean, you can't tell someone not to breed their fish. They're gonna breed them once they learn how. But you know, to educate someone is one thing. You're not going to be able to educate everyone. Not everybody is going to listen to what you say, and no matter what wording you use, isn't going to make you seem like you're more important than the next person. So there's, yeah, well, you know, you can perfect the lines, but you know what? There's, these fish have been bred for so many years, that the ones that we have today, the stability of those lines have been created over 200 years. So, you know, whilst there are new tail types that are being discovered, at what cost to these fish that are already so interbred? You know, and Jordan is a really highly regarded member of the beta community too. So, you know, Jordan and I talk quite a lot as well. So, but you know, again, it's one of those things like, let's empower people. Let's keep showing everyone how this community is so fantastic, rather than being who's naming people. Oh, yeah. The communities are so fantastic, but there are toxic people, and you just gotta stop. You'll start seeing the patterns. You gotta stay away from the toxic people. Leave the toxic people out of it. Let them literally, let them self-destruct themselves. Don't be a part of it. Don't play into it. Don't don't feed the trolls. You know, with this community, let's continue keeping it strong. And like I said, we already know what we're capable of. I mean, look at the fish tubes community. Look at everything that was done for Project Piaba and the other charities that were involved. Look how huge Aquashella has got. You know, we know that these communities are capable of so much. And I really, well, you know, it's right though. Even as adults, you're not protected from this. You know, that, trust me, you walk out that door, someone will tear you down, and that's not something that you want. You, it's it's so difficult to find your place, especially when, you know, there's people that you look up to because you know that they're reputed breeders and you know that they're successful breeders. But some of these breeders are just horrible people. And that's, yeah, it's honestly, and that's the way it is. But you know, eventually those people burn themselves out, and the negative gets left out and the positive keeps pushing forward. And that's exactly what we need to keep going in our community as fish, as fish keepers and the fish community. That's exactly what it is. We're all here because we all love keeping fish, whether it be beta, whether it be catfish, whether it be goldfish, whether it be, doesn't matter what kind of fish it is. That's why we're here, you know. And let's just keep educating people and trying to make everything better for everyone. But you know, don't get upset when people don't listen to your advice because, you know, there's some people you can't teach until they learn from their own mistakes, and unfortunately that's just the way it is, you know. So, but on that note, I think that's where I'm probably gonna leave it for tonight. I did want to connect with everyone though, because I felt so terrible from yesterday for being like, oh hey, you know, this great live stream, I'm gonna be talking to Pokeball, and computer said no, not happening. So I was completely well, why don't everybody that's in the channel now, if you're not subscribed to anybody that's in this channel, I think everybody should click in and subscribe, because a lot of us are still trying to hit the 1,000 mark because we can't, you know, because we can't stream from our cell phones, and we all need to be able to stream from our cell phones, because I had to bring my laptop down into my little studio. And where's Kayla? Kayla, I didn't even realize you were here. I'm sorry. Yeah, we all need to stay together and support each other, and allow not doing homework. And just allow everyone to grow together organically. Like, let's not, if you see people being negative, just avoid them. Don't get, you know, don't get yourself into that kind of conversation on Facebook where you're opening the doors for someone to actually be like, well, you did this and you did that, and don't, let's not, you know. You know what, I'm absolutely positive that I'm sub to everyone here too. So, and if I'm not, just yell at me on Facebook or something. No, don't yell at me ever. But yeah, so, you know, I think a lot of what I wanted to achieve tonight was basically talk to you guys and apologize for last night's catastrophe, even though we ended up managing to go live on Pokeball's channel, which is, the guy's freaking hilarious. Last night he was Captain America, and it was a good stream. It was a really good stream, and there is nothing more entertaining than, you know, talking to people in live streams and having that same goal, you know. So thank you. But I think every one of you that has a project going on with your fish room, I would love to hear about it. I would love to see what projects you have going on, whether it be beta, it doesn't matter what species of fish it is. I like to learn about everything. I like to learn about every single species of fish. There is not one fish that I dislike as such. I may not keep it myself. Doesn't mean that I'm not interested in them. I love to see your projects. I love to see what you've worked on, and you guys, as well as we all know that we work really, really hard to get to where we've gotten to right now at this point. So let's see where we get to in a couple of months' time. You know, 6 months' time to a year. Your goals are endless. You just keep pushing forward and keep staying active in your communities. The next stream, I think Monday. Don't count me on it, but there is a very high possibility that Monday I will be going live with the guys from Green Oasis Farms, possibly on I think it will be Mike's channel. I believe it will be on Mike's channel that we're going to be going live. I'm not sure, but we might have a couple other people joining in on that live stream too. So as soon as I find out the exact details, the exact information, I will absolutely let you know what day we're going live. I know it's Monday. I'm not sure what time on Monday. And it's gonna be like there's gonna be a multi chat going on between us and a couple of people. So definitely stay tuned for that. And let's keep growing, and let's keep being positive towards each other, and helping each other out. Because again, and I'll say it for the last time, and I promise you it's the last time, there is no stupid question if you do not know the answer. And if you don't know the answer and you're too scared to ask it, you can come to me. You can message me on Facebook. You can message me in the groups. Ask in Green Oasis Farms if there's something that you're not sure on, or there's something that you're looking for. And a lot of these communities will actually push you into the right direction. I'm so sorry. I thought I saw a spider. I was about to freak out. Oh my goodness. I don't do spiders. I do everything else, not spiders. No. Oh, I really honestly thought I just saw a big black spider in my lighting up here. Okay, freak out over, I think. Got me all nervous. But yeah, let's just keep pushing forward, and let's I'm so creeped out right now. I honestly thought that was a spider. I would have been screaming on a live stream, because I would have been screaming on a live stream. No, don't like spiders. Completely lost my train of thought. Completely forgot what I was saying. So, anyway, so if there's anything that you want to ask, or anything that you're looking for, you're not sure on the right answers or where to go, I am in a basement. However, my basement is 90% completed, but I can't push it any forward. I can't go any further with my basement, because there's still a little bit of a water issue, which isn't a problem for my fish tank building, like my fish tank stands that I want to put up, and the eventual beta gallery that I'm putting together. The water issue is not going to affect that, but it does affect me putting down an actual flooring, because the water in the one area of the basement, it comes in too fast for me to even consider putting a flooring down right now. But we'll get there. The past year, like I said, if you'd have seen where my fish room was a year ago to where it is today, you'll be like, wow, okay. So I'm really, it's not by any means fancy, but it's a work in progress. And that is one of the beauties about this hobby, is everything is work in progress. Your fish tanks are a work in progress. Your aquascaping skills are a work in progress. Your breeding skills are a work in progress. Your knowledge on the species is a work in progress. And that, to me, is just, that's what keeps me passionate about it. There's always something new to learn. There's always something you can be better at. There's always something you can improve your skills on. And there's always someone you can help. So like, those are the best things that I can really, really say about this hobby, and what it's given me, and what I'm trying to give back to my community. So on that note, sorry about the spider freak out. Sorry about yesterday's live stream mess up, but we got this. We got this. Subway sandwiches. Don't make me hungry. It's too late for me to eat. I'll be sick all night. But on that note, it is late, and I do have to be up at like 6 o'clock in the morning. Aw, I'm sorry. I've got 120 fry that you can choose from. But yeah, that's a shame. I'm sorry for your loss, by the way. I also had the plaquette. Actually, I lie. I've got plaquette, I've got half moon, and I have crown tail spawns right now. So they'll be available soon. But they're actually going through, the oldest ones are actually going through their molt stage. Yes. Yep. And they're koi. The two of the batches are koi. One of them, I'm not sure how they're going to turn out. The father is a super black, and the mother actually has got the marble gene in her. So I don't know how they're going to turn out right now, but they are half moons. Um, and then my crown tails, which super excited about. I can't wait to see how they turn out. But again, I will actually give you guys a tour at some point, or like I'll do an update on the actual room itself. Things have been a little bit manic for me as usual, but we'll get there. Yeah, I'm. Um, I. mm, The only thing with rose towels, I love rose towels. They're visually amazing, beautiful fish, beautiful fish. In fact, a rose towel. Actually, I lie. My veil tail was what got me hooked, and then when I saw the rose towel, my mind was blown. I was like, oh my god, this thing, and it was pink. That was it. I was done. But unfortunately, rose towels is like it's like a genetic mutation, and very beautiful fish, but they have a hard time. They really, really, really have a hard time. But yeah, rosetail, and that's one of the things. Rosetails do catch your eye. They are visually amazing, beautiful fish. But the rosetails that you see are young, and what happens a lot of times with rosetails is that the excessive branching that they have in their tails actually the excessive branching becomes too heavy, and the little tiny bones and the excess of bones that they have in their tails, they snap, and it makes it very difficult for them to open their tail and swim, and actually they get frustrated with their tails and they actually bite their tails off. And I know that sounds really brutal, but that's the truth. Not all the time, not all the time. The young fish are a lot stronger and healthier and are able to swim around with that tail. But imagine putting yourself in 3 pairs of pajamas and jumping into a river and trying to swim to the other side. It's you know it. I fell for that. I fell for that trap myself. Visually, I love them. They're gorgeous. They're beautiful. But as heartbreaking as it is, I just, from my experience, and I've kept them, it's just not very. Those poor guys are kind of sentenced to death from the get go. Genetically, they're a mutated gene, and then on top of it, they've got this excessive finish that just weighs them down, stresses them out, makes them a lot more prone to ailments, disease, parasites, and sad but true. Unfortunately, a lot of people, those are the ones that people see and they're like, oh, I've got to have it. Look at that tail. They buy it and it's dead within a year. Again, that's not the general rule, but it's more often than not. They need a lot of resting spaces close to the surface because it's very difficult. You are absolutely welcome. And if you ever need anything, by all means, just hit me up on Facebook and I will talk your ear off um, about the beta. Um, but stress levels stress levels in any tank make your fish, regardless of what species they are. If the stress levels are high, fish are more prone to diseases and illness. So a rose tail that's having a hard time swimming is stressed because it's got to get to the surface, because it needs to be at the surface. Can't get to the surface very well. It gets exhausted to get there, sinks all the way back down to the bottom, exhausted, to try and do it again. And if you've got that fish in a 10-gallon tank, guess what? It's not going to take very long for that fish to get very, very, very upset. Um, I would recommend staying away from them, as beautiful as they are. I would recommend staying away from them. A half moon that is not a rose tail is a much safer choice. And even they can get excessively long finnage that can cause them a problem. But as long as you make sure that there's different levels in the tank with live plants, they can sit on the live plants and they can be close to the surface, and they don't have to work so hard to get the whole way from the bottom of the tank all the way to the top. So that's definitely something to pay mind to. But by all means, I will gladly talk to you about it. And I really better go because I've got to be up soon. I say that, and then one of you will say something. I'll be like, oh, yeah, and that's a good point. So it's probably not a good thing. But anyway, guys, thank you again so much for joining me in the bubble nest. My logo's not behind me, but it's whatever. My green screen is a white screen right now, but behind that's a green screen. And one day I'll learn how to use the keys so that I can have my logo behind me. I'm actually going to go and hit up Greg, because Gregory Jones, he knows how to do that and he can tell me how to do it. But I am going to wrap it up for tonight. You guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you so much for talking, and thank you for forgiving me and my complete disaster of live stream yesterday. And don't forget to keep an eye out for the live stream on Monday. And if you're not already subscribed, please. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. Good night.